Hello, hello. Welcome again to the All In podcast with Nate Peo. Today I'm joined with my guest, Paul Huber, uh, author of Killing Complacency. Paul is trained as a computer engineer and has spent over 20 years at a leading aerospace and defense companies developing safety critical embedded computer systems. The challenges have been less technical and more battling the twin opposing forces of complacency and perfectionism. Paul has a bachelor's in computer engineering from South Dakota School of Mines and Technology and a master's of systems engineering from Iowa State and an MBA from Jack Welch Management Institute. Killing Complacency represents Paul's self-proclaimed dissertation for the Drivetime University School of Motivation. Welcome to the show, Paul. How are you?
Hey Nate, it's great to be here. I'm having a great day. Things are going pretty well for me, so
Well, that's
exciting to be here.
fantastic. So you got a book, Killing Complacency. I think a lot of people can relate to being complacent, but at times we don't have any idea what to do about it. We don't know how to change it. We don't know how to eliminate it. We definitely don't know how to kill it. So, what was like your thought process? Like, how did you arrive at this notion that, like, hey, I want to write a book and I want it to be about killing complacency, and why choose that over anything else?
Right. Yeah, it all started with me studying mindset and trying to understand what was going on in people's heads. I read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, and I was just kind of thinking about why is it that some people have that growth mindset, have that desire to grow and push forward while others don't. And I realized that there are several root causes that maybe people don't think about and that they will need to be able to succeed going forward. And so I pulled that together. It was a combination of thinking from people like Grant Cardone and other sources, as well as my own research and just thoughts about the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. And I really wanted to bring forward something I called for my men's Bible study group, uh, the growth mindset and an infinite God, because we are here to grow and to become better. And I think so many people limit themselves because they think that there's not that abundance that's available for them.
Yeah. So was this something that was inspired in part through your work and your career, or was this just something that you were looking to help other people? Did it resonate with like, hey, I need to apply this locally to my team, or is it like, hey, this is something I think the world needs to hear and be shared with?
Right. It was a little bit of each. I think that there are really absolutely some of my coworkers, like I mentioned in the introduction that you read, there are some that are stuck with perfectionism and really in an engineering world and in something like my business that I'm in for my day job, it's really highly focused on being precise and being able to narrow in on things that are important. But sometimes people tend to generalize that. They say, well, I need to be this precise in my mechanical engineering or my software development. And so then they try to apply that to how many people I need to get a certain job done or how many hours something takes. And that's kind of one extreme of what I viewed as the perfectionism. And then you get the other extreme of people that have been on the job for 20, 30, 40 years. And at a certain point, they just kind of stopped growing and stopped pushing forward and stopped pushing technology the way that we're expected to do as engineers.
Yeah, I found that to be the case a lot of times, especially in bigger organizations. Like, oh, we can't do it that way 'cause we've always done it this way. And it's like, well, times change, technology change, cultures change, the way people work in their office change, the way everything that happens changes, and you can't just keep doing the same things over and over again. But on the flip side is it's like, well, why should I make that change? It's not going to benefit me to do. I'm going to
Right.
get paid whether I do it this way or that way. And if I do it
Mhm.
that way, it's going to be more work and it's going to be harder to implement. So why don't I just keep doing it the same way that I've been doing it? Like, how can you change that mindset?
I think most people get enticed into better and better cell phones every year. And it's funny at work. There's a couple people with some flip phones and one guy with a crazy model of phone that, was a flash in the pan, but never really took off. And he's had it for a decade or something. And so most people are pulled forward by, hey, I want that newer, faster phone that's more capable, something that does something that that I want, versus my current phone that doesn't quite do it, or it's super slow, or what have you. And so it's that same sort of selling of the improvement that people do with the phones that we need to do in the workplace as well. And that was something I learned during my time in the lean organization at my company. So we were moving towards the Toyota production system, and some of the lean thought mindsets that they had there. And I think a lot of that was, we need to sell people on doing things a little bit differently. And but then people also misinterpreted that whole idea of lean, so it was a different challenge related to that too. So
It really is. In your book, you talk about passion, you talk about purpose, and you give a little bit of an alternate explanation of that. Can you talk a little bit on that?
yeah, I think a lot of people, they'll go through high school and they'll say, "Hey, I'm passionate about basketball or baseball or music," and these are all things that are good for students to do, and good for people to enjoy as they grow up. But a lot of that passion comes because it's something that we've tried a little bit, that we've practiced and gotten better at, and so we've been able to see that improvement. And so if you apply that same sort of process to something else that's maybe not sports and maybe not music, then we can improve and get better in those areas too. And so I think that really passion should and tends to follow where you pursue and what you put your energy into. And so if you're putting energy into getting better at something that's business focused or related to making money, and serving other people and helping out the people around us, then you're able to reap those financial rewards.
Yeah, and I think that goes a little bit hand in hand with what we were talking about before, with people not wanting to change. They want to do what's easy, it's convenient, it's the way they've always done it. And you say, okay, well, why should we learn new tricks? And a lot of times, like you said, like when we're younger, we play these sports and we're terrible at them, and we get better over time, we improve. But I think we just look back and like, oh yeah, of course, I've never played soccer before, I'm 4 years old, it's just run around, chase the ball around, we all do this. But then we learn and we get better and we get better. But if we start at, later on in life, we don't want to like be that beginner again. It's hard, it's scary, so we go like, hey, I'm not going to really get started it, or we do make um some changes to start doing that. And like one of the things I've got going on right now is on LinkedIn, we have this 365-day posting challenge, which is just basically encouraging people, hey, if you post every day on LinkedIn, what does that look like over the course of a year, with getting engagement, the topics you talk about, what are the skills you're going to learn with networking? And a lot of times people, they're scared to post out there because they're putting something out there they've never done. They're writing copy or they're writing content, they're creating something that's vulnerable, and they put it out there, and then nobody supports it, nobody engages it, it's just crickets. And because there's crickets, they lose interest, and they abandon. That didn't work for me. But I tell people, I said, hey, you see those people out there trying, and this doesn't even have to be on like LinkedIn posts. It could be like somebody at the gym, somebody like trying to learn a new skill. They're trying to improve themselves, going back to high school to get a GD, and you say like, hey, what if you encourage them? You give them a little bit of like, hey, good job, man, keep it up. Like you're making some progress. And that little bit sparks that passion, and that little passion kind of grows, and you become a little bit of a learner. And then you start doing this thing where you go, hey, nobody's really noticing, but I'm kind of plugging in. And all of a sudden you bump into somebody and says, hey, I saw what you've been doing, and I'm really impressed. And it inspired me to do that or something else. Like, then you're like, hey, I am making a difference. And that passion starts building, it starts that fire. And I think that really, if you can instill that fire in people to change the way they're doing things, to eliminate complacency, I think you're going to find that that's at its core. Would you, is that what you're talking and teaching?
Yeah, yeah, and I like quoting. I think it was T. Harv Eker. Every master was once a disaster, and
That's a good
you
one.
you have to start by sucking at something. And professionally, that can be really hard, right? We're all expected to succeed at our day jobs, and yeah, you need to be good at this or good at that, but it's going to take time. It takes time to go from I don't know anything about this domain or this discipline to hey, I'm pretty good at writing software, or I understand how GPS works or how this automotive system works. And so being able to build that skill set and build that knowledge takes a while. And so you have to be ready to uh, be able to provide a little bit of value early on so that later you can provide a lot of value.
Yeah. So we're talking about killing complacency, but we can't kill complacency without putting something back in its place. So what comes next after we kill complacency?
So I think what comes after killing complacency is building responsible ambition. And so many people see kind of the negative side of ambition, and they see people executing ambition irresponsibly, trampling on people at work, or cheating, or lying, right? Hey, my product slices, dices, and also will clean your car. Well, it doesn't actually clean your car, and so people get disappointed. Well, if you're upfront about what your product actually does, describe for people the value it creates for them, and hey, you can save uh, a cubic foot in your house because you don't have to buy 4 products, you can just buy this one. Hey, that's great. And so if people understand the value and you actually produce that value, then you should expect that response. And so many people are maybe a little scared of expecting a return on the value that they provide. And so it just having that responsible ambition to really push forward and to drive into, hey, this is what I am, if you will, called to do. It's a passion that I built. This is how I serve the rest of the world. And it's something that provides money back to me. That's something that people should really think about and consider how they can do that
Yeah,
instead of turning away.
I like that approach of that responsible ambition. And I think the idea of the opposite of it holds people back. It's held me back. Like when you say like, hey, I want to do something big. I want to you described it as, having a gift that you can serve the world with. Like, so you say, okay, what am I good at? What is my purpose? Can I put this out there as a business? And then you think, well, if I do that, do I have to be this person that is not responsibly ambitious? Do I have to sell my values, sell my soul to go develop, become successful? So you say, you know what? That's not for me. It's not for me. I'll let somebody else be that person. I'll let somebody else go out there and have success. Instead, I'll mind my own business. But can anybody be successful? Can we all overcome that and gain this responsible ambition?
Yeah, I think so. There are a lot of people, and that's kind of the flip side of complacency, or I guess I say that complacency is the big lie related to contentment. And so we should be content with how we're made. We're not going to necessarily be tall enough or fast enough to be an NBA star, or small enough to be a horse jockey. And those are kind of the size extremes, and you have to have the right DNA for that. And I think there's a continuum on intelligence too. Some people may not be able to comprehend everything to become a brain surgeon, or work in a certain engineering field, but everyone can be better at what they do. And having the growth mindset is what's so important, to understand that they can get better at what they're doing and that they can improve. And so maybe you're not going to be an NBA star, but you can certainly be better at playing a pickup game of basketball with your friends, your kids, or whatever. And
Mhm.
so just understanding, hey, I can get better at something. What direction do I want to take, and what do I want to get better at, and
Yeah.
making those decisions.
I think that's a fantastic example. When I was coming up through my career, I remember people. I was in purchasing, and people told me like, "Hey, this is how you have to do it. Like, you have to call up people, you have to grind on them, you have to be kind of rude, you have to be kind of arrogant, you have to kind of beat people up and make them feel like they're just begging for the opportunity to do this work, and they'll take any price that you'll give them. And I didn't like it, and it didn't feel right to me. And I was like worried, like, hey, can I be successful? Can I be this? And what I found is that that's one person's way of doing it. And that doesn't have to be my way. Like, I can find my purpose, I can find my voice, I can find what works for me. And when I found that, I was able to do my job probably better than those people were doing it, because I found my voice. And I'm definitely doing it better than I would have done if I would have done it the way that they showed me. So a lot of it has to do with, like, hey, like, let's learn, let's find what works from some people, add some other things, and then kind of finding your own voice, which goes back to, hey, you got to take those steps of moving forward. You got to start practicing, you got to start putting yourself out there, because if you wait till you have the answers, you're not going to have the answers. So you got to make that practice and move forward. So, I mean, how would you does everybody deserve success too?
Yeah. Well, I think you can be deserving of not having success, right? If you're trying to cheat people and you're trying to get uh, value from others when you're not actually providing it, you don't actually deserve success. And in some instances, maybe you deserve prison. But people that are able to provide value, they deserve success. And everyone, I think, can achieve more. You may not be able to become a billionaire, but I think that our society in general, and even the U.S., this rich country, can responsibly get richer by having more of its people provide more value to one another. And
Hmm.
really, it's that providing of value in ways that you have inputs that took a certain amount of money, and you have an output that someone's willing to pay for, and that gap should be your profit, and that's how much value you provide to them, and you're able to recoup on your side. And yeah, some of that goes into labor, and some of that goes into people being smart about how they're doing things. But a lot of it, it's just, hey, I've added value to something, I've given someone more value, and so we're able to capture that and be able to retain that as earnings, or reinvest in the business.
Hmm. I like this book by Simon Sinek called did I get this right?
Infinite Game.
Infinite Game. I was thinking of it a while. I was like, maybe I got the wrong author, but yeah, Infinite Game was it, where it's like, hey, if you're playing the Infinite Game, for people that don't know, it's this game where there's no end. So we just continue to play. And so, like, if you're playing football, it's how many points can we score in this allotted time? And there's winners and there's losers. And there's an end point, there's a definitive thing. So when we do this stuff, there's limited resources, right? So we're going to try to extrapolate as much resources as we can, so we can win, somebody else can lose, and we're beating each other up. And then what ends up happening is after we've eliminated the competition, we don't innovate, we don't change the way of doing things, we just kind of trample anybody that tries to come get us, because we have to win at all costs. But when in the Infinite Game, it's abundance mentality. It's this idea that there's always more, there's always enough for everybody to do it. If I share with you what I know, it's not I'm worried that you're going to steal it and rip me off and take all my money. It's that maybe there's something you can add of value. Like, hey, I've got this little piece of here, but if I add this little other thing to it, now I'm solving some other problem for somebody over here, and we're continuing to add value. And that's what I like about that book, and it relates to what you've been talking about, is that we can be in competition with each other to push ourselves to next levels. It's about the camaraderie, kind of the encouragement, the rising tides lift all the ships. But we're more innovative when we're out there trying to lift each other up in this competitive world, than rather than to beat you down so that I can stay ahead.
Right. And the thing with money and the abundance in the world, it's like, hey, there's an ocean there. Do you want to get a thimbleful, or do you want to fill up a tanker truck? Right.
Yeah.
And it's really just your ability to provide value that determines how much you can receive of that money. And so if you're able to provide a lot of value, then you can receive a lot of money in return. And
Yeah.
and it gets it gets tricky at some points. It's hard if you're in more of an hourly job or something like that. It gets hard to provide more and more value if really your value is determined by how many widgets you can make in an hour. But
Hmm.
if your value is determined by how much money you can bring into the company, then you're better able to figure out ways to get increased compensation. And I think that really goes exponential when you become a celebrity, because when you're a celebrity, someone will say, "Hey, if I hire this guy to be in a movie, I'll make $100 million. So paying him 10 million is no big deal." So when you think of value in those terms, you can scale that down to what's the value that I can provide and how can I escalate that, versus thinking of, oh man, I'm so jealous of the movie stars or so jealous of the CEO. Well, just think about how you can increase your value to the company, whether it's being a better employee or starting your own thing. And if you want to start your own thing, how can you create value outside of the structure of the company that you're in?
You know what's interesting? You bring up that idea of the celebrity getting paid a lot of money because they bring in a lot of money, and I've seen this happen a ton of times in business to businesses, where they have really highly compensated salespeople, and what it usually is somebody's making um, more money than anybody else in the company, and they're selling all this stuff, and you look at the bottom line, you go like, hey, this person's probably not worth what we're paying them. Like, we could bring somebody else in and we'll keep the same business, we'll save the same money. And then what ends up happening is they let that person go, and that person goes and works for their competitor. And then somebody like me that was in purchasing goes, you know what? The reason why I used you guys in the first place was because I had this relationship with this person. I knew that they were going to execute on whatever they said that they were going to do. I knew it. I trusted them to do it. If there's a problem, they're going to step up. I had this faith in them. So if they leave, I don't know who the people are staying behind there. I don't know if I'm going to be treated the same way, but I know when he goes over to this other place, he works there and they're selling a like product that essentially is a commodity. I'm going to be treated the way I need to be treated. I'm going to go with them. And so what ends up happening? That client takes all the business, they go over there, they're doing good, and the company that let them go just kind of like squanders it down, and
Right.
they lose a lot of their clientele. And you go, there's some value in the relationships you build and the networks you do. And so sometimes people don't value that because they don't get it. So, I try to tell people a lot of times, like, hey, find something that you can niche on, that you can be the one person that has that niche knowledge or that thing within the organization that nobody else does, and you're going to carve out yourself out this fortress that you're not replaceable. Like, they can't
Mhm.
bring in somebody else for half your wages because you're more than just entering numbers into a computer. So
Right. Yeah, and you really have to get out of that bottom 10%. And as you mentioned, I got the Jack Welch MBA, and that was one of the things that really, uh, I don't know, grated on people the wrong way about Jack, was he wanted the bottom 10% gone. And I can see that in my day job, where maybe it's not 10%, maybe it's one or two, but there is that bottom that you need to clear out and get out of the way so you can hire more talented employees. So you want to be building up and getting better and staying out of the bottom 10%, being part of the solid 70 in the middle, or even the top 20%. And when you're able to get into that top 20% by learning, growing, doing your job well, and exploring new areas, then you're able to demand that additional compensation.
yeah, awesome stuff. So I want to ask you next, what does it mean to you to be all in?
To me, all in really means that we all have that decision to make. How are we going to spend the hours in our lives? And we only have one life to live. We only have one set of hours. And so you can be partially in, and you can decide, hey, I just want to get by. I want to survive. But we're not here to survive. We're here to thrive. And so instead of taking the easy 8 hours a day, if you take the tough 8, 9, 10 hours a day, you can get the additional compensation. You can, while you're on the job, you can take on more and more challenging things. And that's really one of the things about both mindset and a related topic, um, actually being able to have that structure and progressively do harder and harder things. You can just make doing harder and harder things and deliberate practice part of your day job. And so being able to just pursue things that are tougher and tougher instead of, hey, that was easy last time, I'll just do that for the next 5 years or 10 years. Avoid that situation. Work
Yeah.
on the go all in on, hey, I want to get better and better. I don't want to have my days be boring or monotonous. I want to do progressively more challenging things.
Yeah, I love that opinion of getting out there, taking on the challenges, taking on those additional responsibilities. I think a lot of people do wait for them to be granted to them. Like, hey, magic wand, you've been granted some leadership and authority. Now go do something with it, and people are going to respect you and trust your leadership. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. The reason why leaders become leaders is because they take it. They say, like, I'm going to take this. I've decided I'm the leader on this. Not that they're doing it in a bad way, but they're just stepping up and owning it. And then people just go, oh, they must have this authority because they've done it, they've taken it, and then they get behind and they follow it and run with it. So I think that stems from doing the things that need doing, the harder tasks, putting them on yourself, challenging things like, hey, can we do this? Is this the only way to do it? Is there a better way we can do it? And sometimes the better, easier way takes a lot of pain to get there. But if you challenge it and you push through, it adds up. And sometimes those things fail, right? Like
Mhm.
sometimes it doesn't always work, and you have to be okay with, like, hey, I made a mistake, and let's move on. Cool stuff. So I know you got this book out. But let's talk about this. Who is this book for? Who is this message you're trying to get in front of?
The book is for, I'd say basically anyone, but it really comes from the perspective of me being raised here in the Midwest in the U.S. And hearing a lot of these messages, whether it's directly in church or in a largely Christian society where people say, "Well, money is the root of all evil." Well, no, the love of money over actually, producing something of value is a root of many kinds of evils. And
Mhm.
so, just kind of breaking some of that traditional American mindset for people that have maybe heard things like that and uh, feel that either society or the church or someone is saying profit's bad. Well, the reality is we're here and expected to succeed. That's why we're here. If we are not succeeding, then the people around us, the people counting on us, are losing. And
Mhm.
so we are really here to succeed and to do it in a way that's responsible. And so I think that's so key is having that responsible ambition and being able to provide value to people so that we can really receive that in return and continue to get better and better.
Awesome stuff. So where can someone go if they want to get connected to you or pick up the book?
Yeah, so they everything can be found at pauljhuber.com or killingcomplacency.com. The thing for your viewers, I've got this momentum building model. We talked through a little bit about it tonight, but people can request that. It's just pauljhuber.com/mbm if they want that. I do have a resources tab there. You can request all kinds of resources from me related to the book, and so it can get you going, get you a little bit of an idea about what the book's about. And then if you have the book, it can provide some reminders on what's in there. And oh yeah, I need to remember this and this and this so that I can have that success that I'm expected to have.
Awesome stuff. So all that information that'll be listed in the show notes. You can get connected to Paul. I do encourage you to reach out, have a conversation with Paul. And if you do chat, make sure you tell him you heard about him on the All In podcast. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Paul. Wish you well and hope your book is a smash success. And I think the message is very very needed in a lot of areas. So not
Mhm.
just in the workplace, but just I think in life in general. I think it's a great topic. So I appreciate you coming on, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, it's been great being here and look forward to hearing more.